Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate day number 1023, Thursday, January the 23rd, 2020. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, well, as most of you can tell, I've got a pretty nasty cold. So today's TowerGate video is going to be the abbreviated version because I don't know if I can go through 30 minutes without coughing my head off or sneezing or whatever. So I'm going to try to just get to a short video here, just a couple topics of the day. And it's very likely that I would not do a video for Friday unless I just feel much better, or unless there's a major story that breaks regarding Spygate. But other than that, I probably will not have a video up on Friday. But I do expect to be back in the game on Saturday with a full 30-minute video on Saturday. That's my expectation at this point. So let me see if I can get through this. Okay. Well, it looks like the Impeachment Show is not doing very well in the ratings. Already, CBS has already gone back to showing soap operas because of, I guess, their viewers calling in to complain that they don't want to see the Impeachment Show. They want to see the soap operas. So there's CBS basically saying there's just not that much interest. No one really cares. And that, of course, would be pretty much consistent with what I'm experiencing myself, at work. Probably the last week or two I can think of since this thing really ramped up, and especially in the last couple of days since the hearing started, not one single conversation has come up with any of my coworkers at work about the impeachment. No one seems to even care or even know. I bet if you walked up and asked 100 people on the street, I bet you half of them don't even know there's an impeachment hearing going on, or if they do know, they just don't care. It's really different. I remember the Clinton impeachment. It was a big deal. Everybody was paying attention. It was a really big story. And I remember the Nixon impeachment. Obviously, people were glued to their TV for the Nixon impeachment. So this impeachment has a completely different feel to it. I think largely because it's just a political exercise, and the people who are running the thing are, of course, Madame Botox, the Bug-Eyed Fool, and the Penguin. And these characters just don't come off as being all that serious, as well as the fact that you got Trump out there just mocking it for the most part. No one really takes it all that seriously. I wonder how long it will be before ABC and NBC follow suit and go back to showing their soap operas, because it's just not a winner in the ratings, and of course there's a lot of advertising dollars at stake. So there you go. And of course yesterday it was just more of the same. There's really nothing to report on this. I mean, it's just the Bug-Eyed Fool boring people for 2.5 hours, saying the same things he's been saying for literally years. He's now back to the Russia thing. You can't tell what the actual issue is, because he seems to go from one thing to another. It's Russia, it's the Ukraine, it's this, it's abuse of power. It's there's just nothing there to hold your interest or your attention. So the Impeachment Show is a major fail. Again, we know that the Bug-Eyed Fool, his goal was to become a Hollywood scriptwriter. I guess he saw this as a way to sort of write like a movie script, but apparently now we know why none of his movie scripts have ever been picked up. It's because they're probably very boring. Just like this impeachment that we see here. It's a total fail. We also have Paul Sperry with some breaking news today, or yesterday. He says that he has two sources who overheard Sharamella and Sean Misko talking about how to remove Trump 2 days after his inauguration. Sharamella, of course, being the fake whistleblower, and Sean Misko being his buddy, who was, of course, brought into the Bug-Eyed Fool's team not too long after this whole whistleblower thing came about. So obviously there's a plot involved here. I think we all know that. The only reason I could see for continuing on with the Impeachment Show is to expose the plot, call in these two guys, and ask them some tough questions. And as far as I'm concerned, Hunter Biden, yeah, you could call in Hunter Biden, but I would much rather hear from the whistleblower, Misko, and Chalupa. That's the three people I would be interested in hearing from, because they really do have some serious information that could expose the corruption regarding the entire impeachment show. Hunter Biden, it would just be a chance to sit there and beat up on this guy who, quite honestly, is too stupid to defend himself, and that might have a negative blowback to it. Everyone knows what's going on with Hunter Biden. I don't know that. I mean, if you're interested in any of this stuff, if you pay attention, the stories are out there so often about Hunter Biden and what he's involved in and all these sorts of things that I don't need you to know that you need to drag him in there. Again, if it were me and I had my three choices, it would be these two guys, Sharamella and Misko, and of course Chalupa. That would be the three people I'd want to hear from. And if I was going to bring in a Biden, it would be Joe. Hunter Biden himself, I mean, he just accepted an offer that most people would accept. I mean, they're going to pay all this money. You don't have to actually do anything. It's Joe Biden that's the issue, not Hunter. I would bring in Joe Biden if it were me. But anyway, this is my thoughts on that. We have Rand Paul coming out yesterday saying that there are 45 senators who are on board for dismissal. This was at the halfway point of really day one of opening arguments. He's making this call. So I would be very interested to see where we are once both sides have done their opening arguments. There'll be some more votes that the Democrats will lose for witnesses and things and such. But ultimately, once we get to the final closing statement, that's where I expect that Cipollina and the other attorneys, Sekulow, maybe others, will make a very strong closing argument. And it's in this strong closing argument that I expect that you could see the other Republicans come on board, and possibly even a Democrat or two, and because they know that they're going to lose anyway. And if you're going to take the hit, I mean, why would you make it worse on yourself? I mean, you're not going to get the impeachment, so why sign on to dragging it out, knowing it's only going to do further harm to you if you're Joe Manchin or if you are Doug Jones. So we'll have to wait and see exactly where this goes, but it's clear what direction this is going, and that's off the rails. Off the rails. It is literally a replay of what we saw in the House, as far as from the Democrats' perspective. Let's see. Hunter Biden, speaking of Hunter Biden, he has been ordered now by the court to appear on January the 29th to explain why he should not be held in contempt for violating court orders to provide his financial information in his paternity case. Well, I think that the answer to that question is that he's the son of someone who's the former vice president and who's now running for president. I think that that's the reason that he's going to say he shouldn't be held in contempt. You're not going to, you're not going to go after the guy whose daddy is running for president because of the politics. I think that that's probably the truth. I'm not sure that's what will come out, but that's the truth. The judge should treat Hunter Biden the way he would treat you or I or anyone else. Bring in your financial documents or we're going to hold you in contempt. If you don't, we'll hold you in contempt. We'll have a new hearing and they may issue some sort of sanction, including possible jail time or fines. That's what would happen to you or I, but probably will not happen to Hunter Biden. This guy's gotten a free pass his entire life. No matter what he does, daddy and his rich, powerful friends will get him out of it. That's the moral of this story. That's basically how this story works. It works this way with almost all powerful people, politicians and others, children. They rarely are held accountable for their misdeeds. Well, Tulsi Gabbard has sued the Right Reverend Clinton for defamation in a $50 million defamation lawsuit. And of course, she lays out a strong case for why. Has a lot to do with going back to the fact that Tulsi endorsed Bernie instead of the Right Reverend Clinton. The Right Reverend Clinton's held a grudge since then. She made those comments about Tulsi being, a friend of the Russians or something. And of course, that's the basis for this. Now, there's another thing going on in the story that I have to tell you that is not true. It's funny, but it's not true. People are saying that there's within the court filing, Tulsi's court filing, that she's saying that that she's never experienced or does not currently experience nor is expecting to experience thoughts of suicide. That is not in the court filing. That's somebody just having fun, having a little fun with it, and that's fine. It's funny. It did trigger a lot of people, but that's not actually in the filing. I read it, but it does certainly, raise that question, and the very fact that someone could come up with this and have that many people take it seriously and believe it's true tells you a lot about what people know and think about the Clinton body count. Of course, you had this Google employee who blew the whistle, and he's just come up dead. So, I mean, you have a lot of things out there that certainly drive this type of a story, and I guess the reason why is because it's hard to believe that all these people associated with the Clintons over the years, all these strange deaths, is purely coincidental, and the fact that so many of them are never explained. And what makes it even worse is if a serious person tries to really look into it, what they experience in return, and that makes you even more skeptical. So I think that this is this thing sort of has its own engine. It sort of drives itself, and the fact that people take that seriously tells you a lot about what they think about the rotten Reverend Clinton, who, by the way, just recently said that she, of course, doesn't support Bernie, doesn't like Bernie. But I'll tell you, it's going to be very interesting if the rotten Reverend Clinton's brokered convention strategy does not work, and I think it's very likely it will not work. I just don't think, I know she wants to sneak in there and grab the nomination. I just don't think that the votes are there. I don't think she's got the support she thinks she has, and I think this could end up being very embarrassing for her, and that's why I think that she wouldn't pull that string unless she knew that she had the votes. They'll go around to all the people at the convention and find out how many will support her before they put her name on the card, and if she is possibly could be very embarrassed by it, she's not going to do it, and I think that that's probably what will happen. Not that she doesn't want to, but that's exactly what will happen. But here's the funny thing. I mean, if you look at this race right now, it looks like to me it's a Bernie versus Biden race. Everyone else is kind of trailing behind. We won't know until the first 3 or 4 primary states, and then prior to Super Tuesday, we'll get an idea where they are, and then, of course, Super Tuesday will tell the whole story pretty much. But I believe that if Biden and if it was just Biden and Bernie, if everyone else does poorly in the first 3 to 4 primaries, and it looks like it's a Bernie versus Biden matchup, and everyone else is just well behind, I think at that point, if it turned into just a 2-man race with Bernie and Biden, I think Bernie would beat Biden. I really do. I think in a straight up fair race, which is not going to happen. They're not going to allow fair competition to happen. But if there could be a fair competition and it was just Bernie versus Biden with no one else in the race, I believe that Bernie would possibly beat Biden, and if not, certainly give him a very good run for his money. Remember, Bernie got 40% of the Democrat support in 2016, running against Hillary, who you have to admit was probably a better candidate than Biden. So I think that Bernie could beat or give Biden everything he could handle. Now, what would be interesting is if the cards fall a certain way and the Democrats can't stop Bernie, something goes with Biden, goes south with Biden, he spits the bit, Bernie takes advantage, there's nothing they can do to stop him or slow him down. He ends up having a big day on Super Tuesday. He's going to do decently well, I think, in New Hampshire and Iowa. I don't expect he'll do very well in South Carolina, but I think he'll do pretty well in California. Of course, California is a winner-take-all. I do believe you get all the votes there. So I think whoever wins California is probably going to go into Super Tuesday looking pretty good. So I think that that's an important state in play right now. But anyway, it would be interesting if Bernie were to win the nomination, whether it be through a brokered convention or just through getting the votes. And if he were to win it will be very interesting, not just to see if the Right Reverend Clinton will then support the nominee, or and a lot of other Democrats, whether they would fall in line and support Bernie, or whether a lot of Democrats would sit it out, or scream and cry and throw their hands in the air and wonder what they can do and how in the world did they end up with Bernie. So, like I say, whichever way this goes, it is going to be a freak show. It is going to be an entertainment at its best for Trump, Republicans, and people across the country who are watching this play itself out. It's ultimately going to come to a head. The Democratic Party doesn't want to admit what a big problem they have, but they keep putting it off and putting it off. They never really deal with it. But once they get to the convention, they are going to have to deal with it. And if, in fact, Bernie supporters, if Bernie doesn't win, his supporters are automatically going to say he was cheated, whether he was or not, and he likely will be. But Bernie supporters are just going to accept that a Bernie not winning the nomination is the same as Bernie was cheated. And they are going to act up. They will probably be barred from the convention. We saw that happen in 2016 as well. So we'll just have to wait and see. But one thing for sure, it's going to be highly entertaining as we watch this thing move forward through to the big primary day and to the convention. At the same time, Trump's just going to be, doing fantastic. He doesn't have any challengers really. And the convention's going to be a big love fest based on all the success he's had, and the Democrats are going to be completely in turmoil. And it's going to be the contrast between the two conventions is going to be extraordinary. I think will be a major thing. So anyway, we'll keep watching all these things. Again, I don't expect I'm going to do a video tomorrow. I know I got a busy day at work, a lot going on. I got to stop by my mom's and get her trash out. It'd be pretty like 9 o'clock before I get home. Obviously not feeling very well, so I'm probably going to not do a video for Friday, but I do expect hopefully by then I'm feeling better, and I do anticipate at this point doing a video on Saturday. Now if something major should break on Spygate, I will find the energy to do the video, but that's kind of where I am right now. So hopefully I'll get over this thing pretty quickly here and get back to normal. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow with more back on Saturday with more TowerGate. Thanks guys. See you. Bye.